as well as Britain and France, all joined together in a process of not having additional arms and additional activities go into that area, because that will only mean that it produces the possibility of a future confrontation. This is the time to talk. Let me say one other thing with regard to the talk. I would hesitate to give advice to other nations as they enter such delicate talks. But I am sure of this. These talks will have no chance for success if they're done in a public forum. It's very important that they be done quietly, because every time an offer is made or a suggestion is made, it's talked about in the parliaments of one country or another or on the radio. You can forget it. So if these talks can be quietly conducted, there's a chance for success. And in the end,
enemies attack and begin to come into control of the country. What is our policy? I hate to ask a hypothetical question, but people do.
Everybody else does.
And one of your...
I pointed out a moment ago what has happened in Vietnam. The fact that our casualties are a third of what they were 2 years ago. The fact that we have 265,000 out of Vietnam now, and that we now can see the end of the American combat role in Vietnam. We can see that coming. We must realize, however, as Secretary Rogers pointed out in his news conference at the State Department a few days ago, that in May of this year, most American combat forces, ground combat forces, will have been withdrawn from Vietnam. But there will still be 280,000 there left to withdraw. Now, the President of the United States as Commander-in-Chief owes the responsibility to those men to see that they are not subjected to an overwhelming attack from the north. That's why we must continue reconnaissance. And that is why also, if the enemy, at a time we are trying to de-escalate, at a time we are withdrawing, starts to build up its infiltration, starts moving troops and supplies through the Nujia Pass and the other passes, then I, as Commander-in-Chief, will have to order bombing strikes on those key areas. That was one of the reasons for this strike, and it will be done again if they continue to threaten our remaining forces in Vietnam, but only on those military targets and only if necessary. I made it clear not just a month ago, but in November. You may recall that on November 3rd, when I made my speech on November 3rd, I warned the North Vietnamese then that if at a time we were withdrawing, they stepped up their infiltration and threatened our remaining forces, that I would retaliate. I have said that on 8 different occasions on national television and national radio. I have said it also in other messages to them that have gotten to them very loud and very clear. So there's no question about the understanding. And that was why we did this.
You talked about the